Dejection and disappointment for the supporters, players and management when Reading missed out on promotion in the playoff final in Cardiff in May 2001. Almost a year later, the Royals realised their promotion dream. Alan Pardew and his team clinched a place in Division 1 on April the 20th, 2002 in the final match of the season. This is the story of a remarkable and triumphant year for Reading Football Club. While still coming to terms with the defeat in Cardiff, work was already underway to prepare for a new campaign. At a cost of £350,000, the playing surface at the Madejski was replaced with a more durable covering to cope with the demands of soccer and rugby. On the playing staff, Adrian Whitbread and Andy Hughes modelled the new kits. Whitbread having completed his move from Portsmouth, and Hughes arrived from Notts County for £150,000. Alex Smith joined from Port Vale to complete the team picture. Darren Caskey, Jim McIntyre and Andy Gurney were among the players who departed. There was a pre-season tour of the West Country, but the curtain raiser to the big kick-off attracted 20,000 plus spectators. Spurs were the visitors. Les Ferdinand set up Gustavo Poyet for the first goal. Reading keeper Phil Whitehead caught the eye with a series of outstanding saves. But Glenn Hoddle's team won 2-0. Sergei Rebrov struck the second.
The potential's here. With the stadium and the crowd that they had tonight proves that. And the way their goalkeeper played, he was world class tonight. He pulled off 3 magnificent saves, and credit to him, you know. And if he plays like that all season, then they'll do well.
The Royals then lost 1-0 at Rushden and Diamonds before the new season kicked off on August the 11th. Reading's first league game was at newly promoted Blackpool. Brett Ormerod was still with the Seasiders, but he couldn't beat Whitehead. Andy Hughes made his league debut for Reading and forced goalkeeper Phil Barnes to a decent save. Another summer signing, Alex Smith, supplied the 33rd minute corner from which skipper Phil Parkinson headed the opening goal. And Reading sealed an opening day victory as Nicky Forster tucked away that low shot. The first home game pitched two of the pre-season favourites, Reading and Huddersfield, against each other. Tony Rougier came in for the injured Martin Butler. A crowd of just under 12,000 didn't have to wait long for the decisive strike. Nicky Forster, scorer of just 2 goals in the injury-ravaged season before, made it 2-2. Lou Macari's team had their moments, but marksmen such as Chris Hay and here Andy Booth failed to hit the target. Phil Parkinson also had a taste for the goals early on, but not this time. Even so, the manager had good reason to be satisfied.
I'm very satisfied in terms of the 2 fixtures we had, Blackpool away and Huddersfield at home. I've got to be honest, I would have taken 3, maybe 4 points from them too, but especially after the Cardiff situation. Everyone was telling me it'd be a very, very difficult start, but fair play to the players. They've got a grip of it early, and 2 wins, 2 clean sheets. Couldn't ask for more than that.
Darius Henderson was handed a first-team start against 3rd Division Luton in the first cup contest of the season, and the 20-year-old seized his opportunities in the Worthington Cup tie. A powerful header for his first senior goal. Just before half-time, Sammy Igoe's centre caused chaos for the Hatters' defence. Parkinson slammed home the chance. Henderson demonstrated that he could make as well as take goals. A strong run and a centre for Alex Smith, his first goal for the club. With Nathan Tyson and Joe Gamble on, Reading finished with 4 youngsters on the park. They also finished with a goal. Rougier teed up Henderson, Reading were through, and for one striker, a night he'll never forget.
Very satisfying. It's been a long time to get that start, and pleased to get my goals.
In their next league match at Loftus Road, James Harper had more reason than most to curse the officials. This glorious free kick was disallowed for offside. It looked harsh. Dave McEwen produced one of Rangers' best moments. Phil Whitehead remained unbeaten. Jamie Cureton came off the bench for his first appearance of the season and wasn't far away. It finished goalless. Cureton made his first start of the season at Vale Park, and it was quite an entrance. The Royals in front on the stroke of half-time. And from Sammy Igoe's centre, Cureton stooped to head a second. He was back among the goals.
When I got my chance, I knew I had to go in and do well. Obviously, because the boys had done so well, I felt a bit of pressure in myself to try and keep the run going and try not to let anyone down. So it was a big relief to come away with a 2-0 win and get both the goals.
So after 4 league games, Reading were 4th with 10 points. They hadn't conceded a goal. Huddersfield climbed to the top after a victory over Wickham.
2 unbeaten records were put on the line when Reading welcomed Cardiff City to Madejski Stadium. Spencer Pryor looked to have given the visitors the lead, but his header was ruled out for offside. City didn't have to wait too long, however. 3 minutes later, Graham Kavanagh's free kick was parried by Phil Whitehead, but only as far as Leo Fortune West. It was the first goal Reading had conceded all season. Jamie Cureton came within inches of grabbing an equaliser, the crossbar saving Cardiff. Cureton enjoyed a lively afternoon, and when Neil Alexander couldn't hold his shot, Alex Smith was the fastest to react. Fortune West wrapped up the victory for the Welsh team after some bad defending by the Royals, and it could have been 3. Kavanagh fancying his chances from long range, and the post rescuing Whitehead on this occasion. A miserable afternoon for Reading was rounded off with Phil Parkinson getting his marching orders for this tackle on Michael Simpkins. It was the Royals' first defeat of the season. Reading's Worthington Cup tie against West Ham was on September the 11th. Players and 21,000 spectators stood in silence for a minute before the kick-off.
Sinclair just attempting to turn away from Robinson. Ruggerbird's Song. Now Scott Minto. Certainly comfortable on the ball and not lacking confidence. We still await the first goal from the Premiership side. Remember, this match has to be decided tonight, even if we go to extra time and penalties. Hutchinson teeing it up for Moncur. Harper was in there with a challenge that proved effective. Murty. Chase on for Butler. West Ham substitutes warming up down below us. Hayden Fox among those who could be brought on a little later in proceedings if the stalemate remains. Minto a little bit of a hit and hope ball. Totter off in pursuit, and Williams will find his keeper. Hutchinson beating Parkinson. It's too far away from the on-running Jamie Cureton. Daly now. Again asking a little bit too much of Michael Carrick. From Glenn Roeder's point of view, plenty of doom merchants were writing him off after his appointment, but there is clearly a discipline and a strict work rate and a work ethic that might well have won over some of the critics, but it's nights like this, and I'm sure and know that West Ham have had a few upsets down the years. It's nights like this where you have to just safely negotiate and navigate the problems that are in front of you.
That's right, yeah, they've just got to dig in, haven't they? I mean, it might not be the prettiest game in the world, but these are the sort of games you've got to win, and many times in the past West Ham have lost these sort of games, but Glenn Roeder's had a good start to his managerial career so far without getting that many points on the board. I think they've actually played some good football, West Ham. A bit unlucky not to have more points, but after 3 games he'll be quite pleased with the start he's made as new coach.
Challenge on Moncur. The free kick is West Ham's. It'll be delivered by Carrick. Minto back in. Parkinson tried to get the ball away. And in the end it was Jermaine Defoe. His effort again never really troubled Phil Whitehead in the Reading goal.
He's always looking to get a shot in, Defoe, isn't he? Chests it up, doesn't quite get hold of it. It's on target, never going to go into the goal, but he's the type of young player who's always looking to get a shot in.
They're under pressure, Reading being pushed back as Robinson clears. Butler's chest down. And now almost forced the ball, bring that ball out of game from defence. Murty showing nice skill. Just like to get forward from that right back roll. And now it's opening up. Great chance. Harper, and then run into trouble. That's certainly more like it.
Yeah, that's
James Harper and Reading.
That's more like it from Reading. I think their main danger, to be honest, has come from Graham Murty, the right back. He's had a good game so far. He's laid it inside to Harpo, who's done his best, done the step over, the old Glen Roder step over, believe it or not, and he got tackled in the end. But that's more like it from Reading.
This man, Graham Murty, has certainly caused problems with this long throw that's caused to effect. Gets the flick on, and West Ham will need to clear this. Igo on the turn, and Sinclair did well in the tackle. And now the break is on. Totter off to his left, Hutchinson to his right. Defoe's in space, and here is Jermaine Defoe for West Ham with an opportunity. And another splendid save for Phil Whitehead. And not the first he's made tonight.
No, what a great save again from Whitehead. He's keeping Reading in the game at the moment. It's another fantastic break. Sinclair to Defoe, he's turned inside, he struck it well this time, but that's a great save from Whitehead.
Sinclair is beaten in that headed duel there. Here's Curitan, first time ball for Butler. Now Igo. Well, that's a clear foul. And the referee will want a word with Rigobert Song. Bill Jordan is tonight's match official. And then a first yellow card. No complaints?
Oh, absolutely no complaints at all there. He knew exactly what he was doing, Song, and had to bring him down. There we go, you watch, he gets up and he brings Igo down. No attempt to play the ball, quite rightly a yellow card.
So another set piece from distance. Another bit of defending to do. Is it going to be Smith to test his luck? In the end it's left. And the block was effective from Moncur. Robinson following up. Smith trying to get away from Carrick and for Schemmel. Well, the home crowd certainly felt there was some pulling. The referee ignoring those protests. Just a few danger signs there for the Premiership side. Robinson again. And Harper. Might come through to Butler. And Hislop had to be alert to the danger.
Yeah, he did. Good goalkeeping, every Shaka. Didn't mess about. Just smashed it into the crowd. You don't always have to pick it up. He done well there.
Suddenly you sense that this is when Reading can pose West Ham real problems in and around that area. Another of those long throws. Schemmel's clearance. Well, Igo was lurking with intent on the edge of that area. And then Igo back again. Robinson. Butler and Curitan way to the middle. If Smith's ball can find him. Igo is the player at the far post. Desperate, looking for some support. Finds it. Murty. Still Graham Murty! Hislop got down well. But they're positive. And for the first time in this match, a sustained period of pressure for the home side.
Well, I mentioned him earlier in the game, Graham Murty. It's a great run. He's turned inside John Moncur. He's gone for the left foot curler to the far post. Just didn't get quite enough on it, and a comfortable save for Hislop in it. But that's much more like it from Reading.
Prospect of extra time and penalties, I'm sure, will not delight Messrs Loader and Pardew. Murty does love to gallop forward, and Minto had to be quick. To have an excellent first half, Murty. Parkinson. Murty again. Harper. Well, Curitan was the target. But they've noticeably improved in the last quarter of an hour, Reading. Parkinson. Now the cross can come in. And Song took no chances. Again, Hislop behind him. Don't think he'd have hurt his goalkeeper.
No, it's a good cross from Igo. I mean, as a defender there's not much you can do. If you might even hear the shout, but you can't take no chance. A good ball to near post. Song, no chances, heads it out for a corner.
Michael Carrick for West Ham. And maybe just time for one final assault on that Reading goal. They've had clear goal-scoring opportunities which they've failed to take, and so often teams can live to regret that. Minto with a burst of pace. Defoe. Jermaine Defoe running into trouble. And they've done their job well. Eddie Williams and Adrian Whitbread. First half assessment, Tony.
Yeah, I think Glenn Broder will be just a little bit concerned that West Ham haven't taken the numerous chances they've had. This lad Todorov's had probably more than anyone, and Reading will be well pleased because they've gone in at half-time.
Half-time scoreline, Reading 0, West Ham 0. So the claret and blue of West Ham from left to right in this second half, getting proceedings underway. Sinclair very lively in the opening 45. That one of the real confrontations for me with Matt Robinson at left back, but they are so far to break down their second division hosts. Neither manager, I'm sure, savouring the prospect of extra time and penalties. This a cup encounter that must be decided on the night. Son will turn that away and into touch as Reading make a positive start to this second half. Harper then with the long throw and the flick on. Robinson back in there, it'll come to Butler who's onside. Marvellous save from Hislop. So quick to react, and the danger's not clear yet. Well, Hislop reacting quickly as he had to do in that sort of situation. Hutchinson looking to find Defoe instead. It's Todorov with a shot, and Whitehead in the end not forced to make the save. Real danger there. Within just a matter of seconds, Hutchinson had almost teed it up for his teammate. Lively start to the opening minutes of the second half. It's a good ball for Sinclair from Moncur, and he'll run at Robinson and he'll provide the cross. Whitbread it was, with a very important header. Sinclair causing problems.
Yeah, it's much better play, isn't it? Trevor Sinclair takes on Robinson, gets a better of him this time. Whitbread, good defending there with Todorov coming in at the far post.
West Ham corner, delivered by Carrick. Todorov is there! Super save! Just for a moment, felt Todorov was going to make that breakthrough. Great save.
Yeah, it looked like the first goal coming, didn't it? Carrick's corner to the far post. There's Todorov. It's a good header, slight deflection now, I think, off of Robinson. Even better save from Whitehead.
Carrick again. Scrambled clear. Smith with the angle for the cross. Just wide. And what a start that would have been for Henderson.
Well, that's his first touch, isn't it? Unbelievable. I think the cross is from Smith. There's Henderson's first touch. I think Xhaka thought it was in, didn't he? Wow, that was close.
Martin Butler just unable to provide the connection, but they've won a free kick. And that's a yellow card for Scott Minto.
Just about to, well, no, it's good control from Butler. Minto's come. It's a bit of a clumsy challenge, but probably warranted a yellow card because he might have got a shot in on goal. It's going to be left for Martin Butler against the wall, and then Robinson wide. But Reading are serving intent on their visitors from the Premiership. They really are looking at a much more dangerous proposition going forward. That's right. Butler smashes it straight into the wall, and the ball breaks kindly here for Robinson. Swings it with his right foot. That's a great strike. Just gone wide of the far post.
Harper is there for Reading. Parkinson. Murty. Promising for Murty. Into Butler. Oh, so close. Despairing diving in from Shaka Hislop. And I think Alex Smith knows just how close that was.
That was close. Tough skill, he's hit it on the half volley. Hislop was worried, he thought it might have been going in. Fraction lower, and that would have been the winning goal for Reading.
Trevor Sinclair will retrieve the ball and place it on the spot. The Reading fans will do their level best to put him off. 3-3. Sinclair up against Phil Whitehead and scores. West Ham 4-3 in front in this penalty shootout.
Well, there's no sign of the penalties getting any poorer. That's another good penalty from Sinclair. Always going away from the goalkeeper. They're hard to save their ones. West Ham still in front.
Next up is James Harper to make it 4-4, and Hislop has saved. Shaka Hislop, playing against his former club, has given West Ham the advantage. Harper spot kick, Hislop save.
If you go the right way, you've always got a chance. It's not the best of penalties from James Harper, and Shaka Hislop's given West Ham a wonderful chance to win the game here.
And now it rests with Jermaine Defoe. He scored here on loan with Bournemouth last season. He scored for the England under-21s. And he's hit the post. He had the chance to wrap it up. And he's gone and hit the woodwork, would you believe it?
I think the pressure's got to him there. He's done everything right. He's fooled the goalkeeper. But he's hit the outside of the post and it's gone wide.
So Reading fight again. Sami Igo to make it 4-4, and he does exactly that. Reading back level, courtesy of Sami Igo.
What a brilliant penalty from Igo. Straight in the top corner. Excellent penalty.
Well, West Ham had the advantage. They threw it away, and now it's with Christian Daly to restore that advantage. Penalties level at 4-4. Phil Whitehead, the last line of defence. Christian Daly steps up, and West Ham lead 5-4.
With a sudden death now. Christian Daly showing all his experience. That's an excellent penalty in the corner.
Cannot afford to miss. Darius Henderson has played superbly since coming off the bench. Must score, Henderson, and does. Sokol maintains his composure, and still there's nothing to separate these sides. Reading 5, West Ham 5 on penalties.
I actually felt confident he was going to score there. He's been very good since he came on, full of confidence in his open play, and that was another good penalty.
Scott Minto, his first time that he's been in a position like this. Opportunities have been severely restricted, and he's missed. Scott Minto against Whitehead, and the Reading keeper comes out on top.
He didn't run up with any confidence there, Scott Minto. We're now into the penalty takers who don't want to take them. Try to blast it down the middle, and the excellent Phil Whitehead's made a good save.
So, what responsibility for Eddie Vivash. He's seen Minto miss. Can he score? He does! And Reading win through in the most dramatic of penalty shootouts, and they've relied on a substitute defender, Eddie Vivash, as Pardew applauds and Reading celebrate. Minto's miss, Vivash delivers, and Reading triumph on penalties.
Reading slumped to a second successive league defeat when they travelled to Stoke. Slack defending as Icelandic international Bjarni Gudjonsson opened the scoring for the home side. Just 5 minutes later, Stoke doubled that lead when the Royals' defence was caught flat-footed by Peter Hoekstra. The former Dutch international sent Andy Cook through, and he beat Whitehead with ease.
It wasn't a side I recognised, or my fans would have recognised. We just wasn't at it, and you have to sort of look at Tuesday's game and maybe do that took it out of us, because that weren't us Saturday, and we got well and comprehensively beaten.
The Royals got back to winning ways at home to Cambridge United, but Phil Whitehead had to be at his best to prevent Eddie Williams scoring an early own goal. Furious claims for handball from Cambridge from the resulting corner kick, but the referee was having none of it. Martin Butler then brought a fine stop from Lionel Perez in the Cambridge goal as Reading upped the tempo. Sammy Igoe sported a new haircut, and he showed his finishing to be pretty sharp too, just inches from making it 1-0. A super ball from Butler sent Nicky Forster clear, though Perez was in fine form. Reading's persistence eventually paid off in the second half when a cross from Alex Smith resulted in a goal-mouth scramble, and James Harper was on hand to stab home the winner, his first and only goal of the season. The Royals were just pleased to get back to winning ways, while the visitors were still talking about that penalty incident.
2 previous defeats, and at home against Cambridge, that's pressure. Don't worry about that. We had to win tonight. It was a big game for us, and we had to do everything in our power to win it. And we just done the job tonight, and I'm so pleased about that.
For Reading statisticians, the home game against Wycombe Wanderers earned a special place in the record books. Stand-in skipper Eddie Williams tucked away the 4,999th goal in the club's history, and they only had to wait a couple of minutes for goal number 5,000. It came courtesy of a brilliant header from Darius Henderson after some good work by Sammy Igoe. Wycombe keeper Martin Taylor kept out Henderson shortly afterwards, as the 19-year-old went looking for goal number 5001. The visitors' hopes of getting back into the match went with the dismissal of Gavin Holligan for a second bookable offence. James Harper showed great skill to carve open the Wycombe defence, but some last-ditch defending kept his goal-bound effort out.
Darius scoring the 5,000th goal for the club. It's a tremendous landmark, and especially special for me and my staff, because Darius is one we brought through the ranks, so that was nice, and I was pleased with that.
That victory kept the Royals in touch with the early leaders. 5 of the top 6 teams were on 16 points, though Reading and Brentford did have a game in hand on leaders Brighton.
A trip to the seaside to face a Bournemouth team that would eventually be relegated, but it would be no holiday, only frustration for Nicky Forster. And worse to come as James Hayter sent the Royals back up the A31 empty-handed. Before the kick-off against Bury, veteran skipper Phil Parkinson finally received the news he'd wanted.
And I have made the unilateral decision to bend the rules on this occasion and give Phil Parkinson, our captain, a testimonial.
He would, after all, get a money-spinning game as reward for 10 years of service to the club. Bury were bottom of the league at this stage, but you'd never know it. Sammy Igoe settled the home nerves just before the break, but Ian Lawson returned the insults seconds before the final whistle. It took just 7 minutes at Layer Road for Colchester to find the net, Kevin Rapley making a monkey out of Reading's defence. Then Scott McLeish's looping header compounded the misery. Martin Butler's flood of goals in the previous season now seemed a distant memory. He again drew a blank as the drought continued. The same too for Jamie Curitan. He now hadn't scored for 7 games. Then a match that would certainly stretch the Royals, Villa Park for the 3rd round of the Worthington Cup. Before the game, a salute to those who'd made the journey up to the Midlands. But it was the silky skills of David Ginola that mesmerised the spectators, denied on this occasion. Ginola then turned provider, Dion Dublin eventually turning the ball in. Later, Neil Smith tested Peter Schmeichel, but Denmark's finest held firm. Colombian Juan Pablo Angel then had this effort ruled offside, but Reading were out of the cup. Local rivals Swindon, then managed by former Liverpool boss Roy Evans, came to the Medeski having lost only one of their previous 6 games, and it showed. Grazioli with the first, Danny Invincible with the second. After the break, substitute Darius Henderson got one back. But Joe Kuffour, on loan from Arsenal, completed the rout. Before the end, many fans had seen enough. 3 defeats on the bounce and a dismal Royals performance acknowledged by the manager.
I thought our fans were fantastic today in considering what went on the pitch, and I thank them for that, and I just hope that next Saturday we give them something to cheer.
And they did have something to cheer. After a run of only 2 goals in 5 games, Reading produced 4 in one afternoon in a blistering match at Notts County. In a dream start, Andy Hughes opened his account for Reading against his former club. Danny Alsop equalised 3 minutes later. Then relief at last for Jamie Curitin. A neat turn and a deadly strike. But Curitin then produced a goal that would have graced any league in the world, let alone Division 2. Even the manager couldn't resist congratulating his charismatic striker. Reading were on fire. Alex Smith with a blistering drive, 4-1 before the break. The job seemed to be done, but in the second half a debatable penalty gave the home side a lifeline, Alsop with the theatrical fall. He then got up to take the spot kick himself. But although Simon Grayson somehow fumbled in a third for County, the points went to the Royals. Still on the road, the squad travelled further north to take on Oldham. Curitin's delightful curler was the only goal of the game. He was definitely flying now. And Phil Whitehead played his part with his 9th clean sheet of the season. It was then back to basics with striker Nicky Forster as he held a masterclass with youngsters in Wokingham.
Can you tell me what this one's called when you run it forward? And then you just turn it around like that. Cruyff turn. That's your Cruyff turn. So, but again, use both feet and then you're not too predictable.
Neither Reading nor Brentford could have predicted that their end-of-season clash would produce such drama. But for now, the Royals had to deal with the top-of-the-table Brentford side that had put 5 past Bury the previous week. The game came alive midway through the second half. Jamie Curitin bundled over by Darren Powell, Martin Butler finally getting off the mark. The lead was short-lived though, Icelandic star Ivar Ingmarsson with a deflected shot. Then a goalmouth scramble leading to a decisive volley from Jason Price. That result meant that Brentford went 2 points clear at the top, with the Royals trailing well behind in 11th, also below local rivals Swindon.
The next action saw Reading defeat Colchester to move into the 3rd round of the LDV Trophy. Neil Smith scored the first, but it would also become the most significant week in Reading's season. Darius Henderson fired home as Reading won 2-1. 2 days later, the club removed Martin Allen from the role as assistant manager. He'd been appointed early in 1999. His motivational skills had been tested to the full during the previous season, but now the manager wanted a change in personnel. Martin Allen was on his way. But there were new faces coming in. John Solarco and Kevin Watson arrived on loan from Charlton and Rotherham respectively. They'd go straight into the team. Solarco was relishing his opportunity.
It's a massive challenge for me, at that stage of my career where, I'm in the squad at Charlton but not getting a game started this season. And now I think this is a chance for me to show Alan Pardew here and Alan Kirbishley what I've got to offer, and hopefully something good's going to come from this loan period.
He's a player I've been after for some time. I think the stature of this club and the stadium we've got, we should have players like him. And I'm overjoyed that he's here.
Royal supporters wanted the new faces to lift the club, and they did. John Solarco supplied Jamie Cureton with the opener at Northampton. Watson also started, but it was Neil Smith who sent Butler clear. A confident finish, an important victory. After a debut victory, John Solarco then set about organising a midweek home victory. He was conducting affairs for the visit of Wrexham. Reading hadn't won in their 3 previous league games at the Medeski. But the match would be remembered for a serious injury to Martin Butler. He damaged his ankle ligaments after making this challenge. The 8,000-strong crowd soon realised it was a serious blow to last season's Player of the Year. Butler would miss 30 matches. His misfortune provided an opportunity for Nicky Forster. He came off the bench and made his mark in typical fashion, tucking away the 100th goal of his career. Solarco tormented the Wrexham defenders, but Forster was offside as he tried to pounce again. Graham Murty supplied the key passes for both goals. Darius Henderson's smart run and finish wrapped up the points, which came at a cost. Four days later, the Royals were at home again, and Solarco was in the thick of it. His corner and the set piece worked perfectly as John Mackey's header found a way through the crowd. Mackey's first goal of the season. City hit back and Mickey Bell skipped past a couple of tackles before finding Kevin Amankwa with a pinpoint centre. It was an excellent contest in front of a 14,000 plus crowd. From Neil Smith's long throw, Mark Lever headed into his own goal in front of the 3,500 supporters from the West Country. Reading extended their lead as Murty's pass found Andy Hughes and his centre was met by Solarco. The loan signing was having a massive impact on Reading's season. There was still half an hour remaining when Tony Thorpe's header brought City back into the match, but the Royals survived to land 3 more points. Reading's season was really getting into gear. There was another test of speed as the players headed for this karting track at Woodley. Andy Hughes was the speed merchant. Phil Whitehead took a more sedate approach, while the manager had a few problems.
Well, without a shadow of a doubt, Andy Hughes, who is the nutcase of the track, and I hope he gets black flagged at some stage, is causing havoc.
So had Reading's Schumacher been racing before?
When I was about 12, joyriding. No, never done it before.
Looks as though you enjoyed it.
Oh yeah, it's good fun, isn't it? Good fun.
But we're struggling.
Yeah, well, you are now. You keep breaking the rules.
It's unlike me as well. I'm normally a clean player, but you know, we'll have to try and break a few more and get away with it, I think. I've been brilliant. I don't know about the other lads. Obviously, there's been a lot of cutting up and a lot of cheating.
And Reading's next stop, Welling in the Cup.
In the FA Cup first round, Reading made hard work of beating non-league Welling United. Jamie Cureton's goal 15 minutes into the second half, clinching a narrow home win. It was his 7th of the season. With 5 back-to-back wins behind them, Reading set about racking up number 6 against Tranmere Rovers. The decisive moment came when striker Saini Ndiaye was sent off for the visitors for allegedly hitting John Mackey. Nicky Forster broke free down the right wing and his centre gave Neil Smith the opportunity to steer home the opening goal. But over-jubilant celebrations resulted in Smith injuring himself.
A bit surprised, obviously, like scoring a goal and then breaking your rib celebrating, but just means I can't score again for a little while. Got to let it heal a little bit.
They were 2 up before half-time thanks to some brilliant skill from Forster and a cool finish. More of the same from him in the second half to make it 3-0. Jason Price grabbed 1 back for Tranmere, but it was only ever going to be a consolation. Darius Henderson celebrated signing his new contract by slotting in the Royals' 4th of the night and his 7th of the season. The Royals rounded off a perfect month with a 2-1 win at Peterborough, their 7th consecutive victory. But they had to come from behind after Andy Clark outstripped Adi Vivash and beat Whitehead. The match turned on a sending off 20 minutes from time Andy Edwards sent off for a second bookable offence, and for the second time in a week, Reading set about defeating 10 men. John Solako supplied the cross, and Darius Henderson provided the finishing touch. And in the dying seconds, an action replay. Solako's pinpoint cross headed home by Henderson. 2 goals in 7 minutes sent the travelling Royals home happy. November's 5 league wins and that cup victory made it a month to remember, and made Alan Pardew manager of the month. Jamie Ashdown came in for the injured Phil Whitehead, though while November was a perfect month for Reading, December proved to be nearly disastrous. The Royals crashed out of 2 cup competitions and recorded just a single league win. Chesterfield took a shock lead after 10 minutes, Jonathan Howard heading them in front. Forster turned the Chesterfield defence inside out in the first half, but Reading simply couldn't conjure up an equaliser. John Solako's loan deal had just been extended, and he very nearly put the Royals back on level terms shortly after half-time. Nathan Abbey blocking his shot. Reading tested Abbey all afternoon, and when they did beat him, the woodwork kept the Royals out. Well, that defeat left the Royals in 4th place, 5 points off Brighton, though Brentford and Stoke City did have a game in hand. A trip to conference side Barnet in the LDV Trophy Southern Area quarter-final. Ben Strevens put the home side ahead, though Reading were soon on level terms. Nicky Forster got his shot in, it hit a post and rebounded for Darius Henderson to claim his 10th of the season. Mark Arbour put the non-league side back in front, and their mission was made easier when Henderson was red-carded for a 2-footed lunge. Strevens added to their lead with a well-taken strike, and a miserable night for Reading was completed when Austin Barkley turned in goal number 4 for Barnet. York City may have been struggling near the foot of Division 3, but they put Reading out of the FA Cup for a second successive year. Nick Richardson blasting home after 4 minutes. The Royals later lost Vivash with a torn groin, and York capitalised on the big man's departure, Graham Potter making it 2-0.
After 3 defeats in a row, Reading needed some Christmas cheer, and they got it in the form of John Solako with this strike against Wigan. And there were more presents to come. A.D. Williams' apparent handball overlooked by the referee, and a penalty after Tony Rougier was bundled over by Australian John Phelan. But Phelan went on to save from Forster. And at the other end, Simon Howarth gave the visitors a point. And so to Cardiff, the Royals' first match in the city since the previous season's playoff final defeat. This time it was Ninian Park, and it started badly. Robert Earnshaw shooting past 4 players and on loan from Fulham goalkeeper Marcus Hahnemann. But the division's biggest crowd of the day, 16,700, saw Reading equalise. Graham Murty's shot directed in by Nicky Forster. There were more goals to come though, Earnshaw claiming his second, before John Solako restored parity with a well-taken goal. Another trip to Wales, this time to the north, as Wrexham suffered their second defeat of the season to Reading, Nicky Forster with an unstoppable strike. He then turned provider as John Solako scored his 3rd goal in as many games. A wintry afternoon, but a result to warm the hearts of Reading fans. The home game against Port Vale was to mark a change of fortune for Jamie Curitan after Matt Carragher had used his hand to block his shot. For Curitan, who'd missed his previous 2 penalties, it was to be 3rd time lucky. His first league goal since the start of November. The confidence was back, and when Nicky Forster's shot came back off the post, Curitan's instincts were as sharp as ever. And with John Solako's loan period extended for another month, the team was definitely on a roll.
We're getting a run together now, so I desperately want to be part of this, want to get out of this league and go on and get promotion into the Prem.
Andy Hughes' winner against QPR wouldn't be challenging for goal of the season, but they all count.
Caught it sweetly, hit it with both feet, it's gone in the bottom corner, very lucky. A couple of players said it was jammy, but I'm pleased it won us a game.
And at the other end, Marcus Hahnemann kept the Londoners out with this terrific reflex save from Carl Connolly's thumping volley. The head of Huddersfield's Andy Booth played a vital part in this game. Here his header was just wide. But then it was this bizarre back header that gave Nicky Forster the chance to display a cool finish. Forster was then booked for diving, but he'd already done enough to secure the points for Reading. The Royals were now top of the table for the first time in the season, and according to the bookies, joint favourites with Stoke to take the title.
The impressive sequence of results continued as Steve McMahon's Blackpool rolled into Reading. Tony Rougier and Nicky Forster again started up front, and from Samiago centre, Forster headed Reading's first. Just 2 minutes later, the Royals put the contest beyond Blackpool, courtesy of a dreadful mix-up. Defender Brian Reid headed past his own keeper. Forster wouldn't get an easier goal. In front of 13,700 spectators, Reading looked the more likely to score again. A goal was still proving elusive for Rougier. Keeper Marcus Hahnemann had returned to Fulham, but Ben Roberts arrived on loan from Charlton and continued the run of clean sheets. Rougier provided the pass for Forster to run onto. He sliced a path between defenders and slotted home to complete his one hat-trick of the season. It was Forster and table-topping Reading 3, Blackpool 0. Next stop for the hat-trick hero was a midweek trip to Wigan. Paul Jewell's team were also on a decent run. They headed for the JJB Stadium and a stern test. At this stage, Alan Pardew's team were on their most productive run of the season. Andy Hughes' powerful and pacey run was accompanied by a decent finish. At the other end, Reading's defence was at its meanest. They made it 6 successive matches without conceding a goal, and the lead at the top grew to 6 points. Fresh from his hat-trick, Forster struck again with the help of a hefty deflection. They all count, and everything was running nicely for the Royals. With a third of the season still remaining, Wigan still had playoff ambitions, but Ben Roberts dealt with the best they could offer on this night. Reading then renewed their rivalry with Colchester. After suffering against the Essex club the season before, this time Reading were in 7th heaven. 7 straight wins, a 7th clean sheet. When Andy Hughes' centre was handled, John Solarco stepped forward to take the spot kick. Colchester keeper Simon Brown made a decent save, but the referee ordered the penalty to be retaken. Rougier and Forster then haggled over the right to take the kick. Skipper Phil Parkinson laid down the law, and Forster made it count. Soon after half-time, Hughes' centre was fumbled by Brown. 2-0 for Reading, and one of the celebrations of the season. Forster then took his personal tally to 7 goals in 4 games. Reading looked like champions.
I'm trying to keep everybody focused, but that's what we're trying to do. Try and learn from last year, and that's all you can do, learn from your mistakes. We obviously made mistakes, we didn't get promoted, so we're trying to make sure we don't make fewer this year.
January's run of 6 successive victories and not 1 goal conceded earned Alan Pardew his 2nd Nationwide Manager of the Month award of the season, but he wanted a bigger prize.
It's a fantastic achievement. I get the award, but it's really a team effort, obviously, and it goes towards the big team effort, which is promotion, obviously.
Reading went back on the road to face Bury on the Gig Lane mud. The Shakers were struggling to avoid relegation, but John Newby became the first player to beat Ben Roberts during his loan spell. Reading were determined to preserve their unbeaten run. Andy Hughes went close. At the other end, Roberts saved from George Clegg. But Reading took an important point thanks to John Solarco's 5th league goal for the Royals.
Darren Caskey quickly renewed acquaintances with the Royals when he returned with Notts County. Lone keeper Ben Roberts kept out Danny Alsop, but he couldn't prevent Richard Liebert giving County the lead. Then came possibly the most bizarre goal of the season. Nicky Forster's header beat Stuart Garden, rebounded, hit the keeper's legs and went in. Roberts pulled off a great save from Craig Ireland in the second half, but the afternoon belonged to super sub Jamie Curitan, his last gasp goal, giving the Royals their 8th win in 9 matches. The trip to Brighton was the first of 2 big away matches in the space of 3 days for Reading, but they suffered a blow to their confidence against the high-flying Seagulls. Referee Paul Alcock took 3 pitch inspections before deciding the match could go ahead, and how Reading wished it hadn't. Bobby Zamora claiming his 26th of the season. 4 minutes later, it was 2-0. Zamora's delicate chip giving Steve Milton the chance to beat Roberts. Brighton hadn't lost at home for 4.5 months, and they were in no mood to see that sequence end. Zamora gifted Junior Lewis goal number 3, and the contest was effectively over. Curitan came off the bench to blast in a consolation, but unlike the previous match, there was to be no happy ending. Valentine's Day saw the Royals travel down the M4 to Swindon. Phil Whitehead had to step in for Roberts after he injured himself warming up.
I was in the squad, but I think Ronnie didn't think I was going to be playing, so he didn't put my shirt in and whatever, and that's why I had to wear the Swindon shirt.
Forster had this effort ruled out for offside after 2 minutes. A former Royals defender, Andy Gurney, kept Whitehead busy with a fiercely struck free kick. Sammy Igoe had already picked up a yellow card when he clattered into Bobby Howe and was handed a second yellow. Off he went and Reading were left to tackle Swindon with 10 men. Paul McAreevy was red carded for a tackle on John Mackey in the second half, and Alan Reeves joined him later on for kicking out at Phil Parkinson.
I thought the referee was very, very poor tonight. The sending off of Igoe was justified in my opinion, but the way he refereed the game spoiled it, and it was only the fact that the players were going full tilt that it made it an enjoyable game.
Well, after that scoreless midweek stalemate, Reading could have put 5 past Stoke at the Medeski in front of more than 21,000 fans. Curitan testing Cutler from close range, and Forster unleashing a fantastic volley that just clipped the bar. Early in the second half, Curitan pounced to grab the only goal of the game. A true poacher's strike, it was his 12th of the season. Whitehead oozed confidence in the Reading goal to secure a sweet victory. Reading produced a classic away performance at Adams Park to come away with a 2-0 win and put themselves in the driving seat for promotion. Curitan and Forster ensured Wickham keeper Martin Taylor had a very busy night. The Royals dominated the match and carved out plenty of openings, only for Taylor to spoil the party. Curitan had scored the Royals' last 3 goals, and when Hughes released Forster, Curitan was only too happy to make it 4. In the dying minutes, Darius Henderson beat the offside trap and rounded Taylor, rounding off a superb night for Reading.
Fantastic, and we had to have a delayed kick-off because our fans were late, but it was well worth waiting because they were brilliant tonight, and as they have been now, and they know the feeling's good, that we got a great chance, and they're up for it as well.
Cambridge United had struggled all season. They put 2 past the Royals and looked to be on their way to recording a shock win. But a frank half-time chat led to a reversal of fortunes for Reading. 85 Ash putting the Royals back in it with that header before some good work from Forster resulted in Terry Fleming scoring an own goal. When Vivash hacked down Kitson, it looked like Cambridge were about to grab a dramatic late win. But that man Phil Whitehead had other ideas. That hard-earned draw at Cambridge left Reading 7 points clear at the top of Division 2, though Brighton did have a game in hand. Steve Coppell's Brentford were 11 points behind the Royals. 3 days later, Reading faced relegation-haunted Bournemouth, and with the scores tied at 2-2, Wade Elliott missed a last-minute penalty. It had all started so well for Reading. Curitan's free kick deflected past Stewart to put them ahead after 4 minutes. But the Cherries were battling for survival and equalised early in the second half through James Hayter. Derek Holmes put Bournemouth in front from a corner shortly afterwards before Andy Hughes arrived at the far post for Reading to make it 2-2. Then, after that missed penalty, Curitan came within inches of scoring a sensational winner.
I'm not the best on my left, so I cut in and obviously the defender went the other way, and I tried to bend it in the corner and I actually thought it was in. I was just about to run off and celebrate, and it hits the bar. So, you know, it's disappointing, you know, but I felt we should have wrapped the game up, you know, before that.
We've got the best away record in the league. We've got a little cushion, and we're not going to win this league by 9 points. So, you know, we got a cushion between us and third place, and that's what we've got to look to protect and try and win the championship.
More than 22,000 at the Medeski for the showdown between the top two. For Alan Pardew's side, it really would have to be a team effort. A tense match came to life in the second half, Salako heading over. At the other end, Phil Whitehead saved well from Brighton's Richard Carpenter. Then Bobby Zamora, who would end the season as the division's top scorer, was unable to find the net on this occasion. Both teams nearly scored own goals. Adi Williams first, then defender Kerry Mayo. There was a scare near the end, but Phil Whitehead had been fouled, so the points were shared. It's 180 miles to Chesterfield, but the loyal Royals will go anywhere for their team.
To turn in every single week when it's pouring with rain, whether it's sunny or whatever, you know, they're the ones it means a lot to, you know.
We've got the best defence in the division. They've, I think we've conceded about 30 odd goals. That's made a difference. We've won a lot of games 1-0. I think we kept about 19 clean sheets or something.
Promotion, I think. I'm not bothered where they finish as long as they get up after last season.
Nicky Forster scored the first, leaving Jamie Curitan to mop up with the second. An away day to remember. Reading were becoming unwilling draw specialists. The match against Oldham was to be the fourth stalemate in 5 matches, John Mackey giving Reading the lead. Oldham equalised on the half hour through Lee Duxbury. And although Phil Parkinson restored the advantage just before the break, Oldham's Alan Smart pulled the visitors level again. Then frustration as only the woodwork prevented Nicky Forster from grabbing the winner. The previous meeting with Bristol City had been a mouth-watering goalfest, and the rematch was to serve up more of the same. Andy Hughes dancing to the tune of his 6th goal of the season. Forster was then hauled down by Mark Lever before stepping up to dispatch the penalty. The celebrations had barely ended before City pulled one back through Lee Peacock. And then another penalty. Mickey Bell eventually sending Phil Whitehead the wrong way. Then a superb curler from Kevin Watson. 5 goals in 15 breathless minutes. But the final twist came in the 59th minute, Steve Robinson turning in the equaliser. A 1-minute silence at the Medeski Stadium, impeccably observed by more than 16,000 fans. The Royals paying tribute to the Queen Mother here in the Royal County of Berkshire. When the game against Northampton kicked off, Reading knew they'd already been leapfrogged to the top of the league by Brighton, who'd beaten Bristol City earlier in the day. John Mackey coming close, but the finishing touch had deserted the strikers. To miss out on promotion now was almost unthinkable.
You know, God willing, we'll get there, but nothing's for sure until the fat lady sings. But you couldn't wish for a more committed commitment from the team, the manager and all the staff at the Medeski Stadium. Everybody's pulling their weight 100%. So if we don't get there, it's going to be the cruelest thing out. But I'm sure that we will.
It's nail-biting stuff. The season was drawing in and still Reading couldn't find that elusive win. Forster was giving his all for the cause, but was thwarted by keeper Joe Murphy. Then Tranmere's Gareth Roberts crossed for Stuart Barlow to head in. After the break, Simon Howarth made it 2 with a delightful chip. Reading would have to dig deep, and they didn't disappoint. He hadn't scored all season, but Tony Rougier finally found the moment to break his duck. Then another set piece, this time Kevin Watson crossing for John Salako. Stalemate again, but undefeated in 23 matches. And that point meant Reading was still in the automatic promotion spot with their destiny in their own hands, though Brentford would take it to the wire. The last home game of the season provided some daredevil feats, courtesy of soldiers from Arborfield and Middle Wallop dropping in with the match ball. And while the chairman roused the troops, the battle was about to commence. But the first exchange of fire went Peterborough's way, Matthew Gill's shot slipping through Phil Whitehead's hands, a rare mistake for the Royals' experienced keeper. Butler then tried his luck, saved by England under-18 international Luke Steele. The tension almost unbearable. But then some relief as Sami Igo threaded the ball through to Nicky Forster. Forster then weaved a second goal. But the full pattern only emerged after Liam Mackenzie's equaliser 7 minutes before time. The big Brentford showdown will be next. It couldn't be any tighter. With Brighton already crowned as champions, Reading would now need to win or draw at Brentford to secure automatic promotion.
Now you've got no angle. He might cut it off, centre half, a step in front of Curo.
And so the build-up to the final match. There may have been plenty of tension for Royal supporters, but there was a relaxed atmosphere on the training ground.
I've got to be honest, I wouldn't know how to go and get a draw. They seem to be following me around at the moment, but we go to win every game, and I think if we do anything other than that, we'll be doing ourselves an injustice. We go to win the game, and sort of 80th, 85th minute, both managers on the side will know what they need to do, and perhaps we could change it a little bit then, but we have to get to that stage first.
It's been a relaxed week, and you know, that's I think the first and foremost that the manager's been trying to do, just to keep us nice and relaxed. Great spirit, good bit of friendly banter, which we've been having in training, and keeping clean sheets really.
How much are you looking forward to it?
Yeah, we just want the game to start now really. It's going to be a lot of hype this week before the game, so it'd be nice just to get to Saturday and start the game.
Reading would face the Bees without one of the season's stars, defender John Mackey. He damaged ankle ligaments in the match against Peterborough. But the manager had no shortage of confidence in his squad, and he didn't doubt the game's significance.
I think it's the biggest game in the history of this club, I really do, because for the first time, certainly since I've been here, we're ready now. Although it had been nice to go up last year, I don't really feel we was ready in terms of the young players coming through and the players we had available at the time. But this year we're ready. The infrastructure's sound. We've got the finances on a good, even footing, and we've got some fantastic players ready to play in the next division. And we're one-way result away from doing that.
At Griffin Park, Martin Butler was back in the starting lineup to face Steve Coppell's team. For their part, Brentford had an excellent home record. The 2,500 Reading supporters with tickets were decked out in blue and white.
That's a very good omen.
Very natural, do you think?
Suits you, blue rinse.
We like it.
What do you think's going to happen today?
3-0 Reading, definitely. I'm confident. I think we'll draw, and we're going to go out this time, definitely. Definitely going to go out.
ITV's match commentator was Guy Havord.
Well, London doesn't do football cup finals anymore, but a few north circular miles from Wembley Stadium, a cup final of sorts here at Griffin Park. Powell with the header for Brentford. Burgess again using his strength in the air. Hunt again, strikes. And it just slid off target, it seemed, at the last minute. Enterprising play, though, by Stephen Hunt. Cutting in from that left-hand side and using his left foot well. Whitehead, though, had it well covered. Igo, ball running away from him, and Evans gets it clear. Maybe Williams onto the roof, or maybe even out of the ground. I think fans will feel at home here at Griffin Park. It's not dissimilar to the old Elm Park. Plenty of terracing, old stands, and round about 10,000 shoehorned in here this afternoon. Anderson. Ball hadn't gone out. Terrific ball in! And Burgess's header is tipped over. Ferocious connection on the ball from Ben Burgess. My initial thought was it hadn't gone out of play, and Reading fans must have feared that that was hitting the back of the net. Whitehead didn't. He knew. Burgess again near post. First big moment of this huge playoff decider. Into the final minute of the first half, and Owusu is away here. His pace has left the defenders. Can he find the finish? Oh, what was he doing? It's gone behind for a corner, but he has neglected the opportunity to strike for himself, and in fact the referee has given a free kick in the end for the Brentford player, Hunt I think it was, fouling, but Owusu was here, away, and he opted not to shoot. It really was terrific covering by Murty there. At the bottom of your picture, he was aware of Hunt's positioning, and that is a goal-saving clearance from Graham Murty. Well, both sets of supporters can applaud mightily. Brentford have had the better of this first half. Ben Burgess with the clearest opportunity that was wonderfully saved by Phil Whitehead. And then Murty with such an important clearance after Owusu had turned down the opportunity himself to shoot on goal. So applause for Brentford because they've played well in this first half. Applause for Reading because they're still on course. Who is going up this afternoon? Will it be Brentford? Will it be Reading? Certainly the Bees had the chances in the first half, with Owusu included, and they feared no one this season. They've beaten the champions Brighton home and away. As Butler chases, but it's more assured defending by Powell. Not only they've beaten Brighton home and away, they beat Reading at the Medeski Stadium, and Owusu with an early effort. They've just got to keep trying, Brentford. Reading kicking towards their supporters on that bank of terracing. Solako. What a back cross in! Oh! And it was very cool defending by Darren Powell, who let the ball run across. Solako must have thought for a moment that his cross might yet turn into a goal, but he will be credited with. It's just drifted here, and Butler couldn't get on the end of it. Igo finding Butler. Ball didn't stick though to Martin Butler. Played 45 minutes last Saturday. Interesting to see if he can dig deep enough to find the necessary fitness for the full 90. Not really been able to stamp his class so far on the game. Owusu's done well here. He's got two coming into the centre for him. Owusu tries to pick him out and does! It's Rowlands! Brentford steam into second place. Not a flicker of emotion from the manager, who knew that Martin Rowlands was a huge injury doubt before kick-off. They're so glad he passed the fitness check. A punt forward, and Owusu used his strength, used his pace, and used nous on this occasion to pick out Rowlands. Away from Williams, and just had a look here, and steaming in was Rowlands, and Brentford are ahead. Now Reading have got to come forward, now Reading have got to gamble. Owusu. Ref says play on, and Sidwell does just that. Sidwell! The whole pendulum has swung massively towards Brentford. Jamie Curitan, who many believe should have been starting every game this season. He's been on the bench for a great deal of it. Now comes on for the remaining 25 minutes. And a goal from Jamie Curitan now might just be the biggest in Reading's recent history. Up goes Burgess. Over goes Burgess. Out goes the ball. Will he make the 90 minutes? Fresh legs is a possibility for Steve Coppell. Fit players out there in the final 15 minutes to close down, to make it hard for the Reading team to conjure something up. He's concerned now because Reading have a free kick that Vivash is going to take. Delivers it up towards Parkinson, who got the flick on. Curitan! Yes! Majestic finish! A laid-back celebration! Does he know the importance of that goal? For so much of the season, Pardew has put him on the bench. He put him on the pitch midway through the second half, and boy has he delivered! Jamie Curitan. Wonderful first touch, and the finish, given the circumstances, extraordinary. Reading now second in the table, Brentford third. Dobson forward. Ben Burgess looking for Lloyd Owusu. Owusu turns. Firm left-footed shot by Lloyd Owusu, but it didn't really stretch the goalkeeper, and this is Curitan at the other end. Butler getting up to support him. Butler arriving! No contact from Martin Butler. Shorey. No one wants to make a mistake. It's a good ball forward for Salako. Curitan in the centre, Butler as well. Shorey. Curitan calling for it. Here is Jamie Curitan. Great save by the goalkeeper. Forster tumbles, and no free kick. Well, it was definitely outside the penalty area. And Rowlands signals well, that he disagrees with agrees with the decision. Here was Curitan in with his second maybe, and it was a fine one-arm save by Paul Smith. Now, should this have been a free kick? Well, there's no doubt about it. It's not a penalty, but it's a free kick. Jamie Curitan trying to find the corner flag. Curitan again. Good ball in, and Butler made contact. Somehow it went over the crossbar. We're into the final minutes. Reading just want to hear the whistle. They were so close last season. Might have gone up automatically, but Alan Pardew had to suffer the playoffs. They just squeaked through against Wigan in the semis. They were going so well against Warsaw in the final at the Millennium Stadium. A freakish own goal did them on that occasion, and they are up! Reading have been promoted this time in the battle of the Selhurst Old Boys. It's Pardew who wins. It's the Royals who'll be visiting the Palace next season. He's done it. He can hardly match the dancing celebrations of the supporters. The tension almost too much for the manager. It's a draw. They hated the draws in recent times that have denied them the championship. But this is the best points they have claimed for many a season. Curitan the hero.
After 4 seasons in Division 2, a 1-1 draw in the final match lifted Reading back to Division 1.
Obviously 1-0 down, looked a bit jittery, but we knew that if we got one, no matter if it was the 90th minute, we only needed a draw, and as long as they didn't score a second, we felt confident we would get the equaliser.
And when the ball came over the guy's shoulder?
Yeah, I mean, I took a great touch, the touch set everything up. The keeper obviously come running out, and I flicked it over him, and it was a bit agonising watching it going off the post, but it's rolled in the net, and you know, I'm over the moon.
It's been a frustrating time for you as well, really.
Yeah, definitely. You know, I've said a few times, you know, in interviews today that I've not played the part that I'd like to have played all season. But today I've played the biggest part I could ever have played, so, you know, I'm more than happy.
Phil?
Like,
it all went wrong last year. What does this mean to you?
Well, I think that put added pressure on us today, because, you know, it was so close last year, but to do it now is absolutely fantastic. And once again, I've got to say it, we had a lot of draws, people have been doubting us, but the character again, to go 1-0 down and then to come back was absolutely magnificent.
What were your thoughts when that ball dropped over the defender's shoulder and Jamie turned on it?
Well, you wouldn't want anyone else in that position. He's so cool, it's unbelievable, and we all love him, he's brilliant, absolutely delighted.
Oh, it's absolutely brilliant. I'm chuffed a bit for all the lads, you know. They've worked so hard all season, and to have a game like this, the last game of the season, it's unbelievable, you know, the feeling, look at the fans, it means everything to everybody, and I'm just lucky that I could nick a little game at the end, so I'm really chuffed.
And it's been a difficult run in, Phil, with those home draws.
Yeah, we put a bit of pressure on ourselves, but to come here, I mean, people have questioned our bottle, to come to a place like that and get the result we needed on a day like today, magnificent.
A couple of special saves from you there early on.
Not really, but I never doubted we were going to score. Not for 1 minute did I doubt we were going to score. And they've come up trumps again, little fat Gert. Superb, absolutely superb.
Well, Martin, you scored a few goals, but when the ball dropped over the defender's shoulder there, and Jamie, so cool.
Oh, he's amazing, isn't he? I was just saying, he doesn't do anything in games sometimes, but he always gets the most important thing. He does what other people can't do, and he scores goals. Absolutely chuffed to bits for everybody.
A beer or two tonight, perhaps?
No, we're just going to have a couple of orange juices.
Straight off.
Here we are, back in the First Division, where we should have been all the time. We've got a great squad, full of determination, saw the quality of the football we played. We perhaps don't play like Brentford, but we have got enormous skill. And I think we have played very well in the First Division, so I'm absolutely over the moon. I just did not want to go to the playoffs. So this is absolutely godsend, I can tell you.
But this team, they make those of us who watch Reading week in, week out, they made us suffer in these last few weeks.
Well, you know, it was the white knuckle ride, and I was sitting up there, you know, and absolutely terrific though.
Just right now.
They're
That's
fantastic.
what makes it worthwhile.
Those fans an integral part of us getting where we are today. Integral part. Brilliant.
I've got to the stage now in my career where, I went in the second division. I had a belief that this is a big club, and it's just so nice to get promotion. We thought we'd blown it. It was going to always be hard to come here. To come back from 1 goal down, and this is going to be so special, and this is a memory that's going to stay with me for a very, very long time.
You did make hard work of it, didn't you, with those successive home draws?
Yeah, that's right. We drew something like 7 or 8 games at the end, especially 4 or 5 at home, and really made it difficult for ourselves. We gave Brentford a lifeline, and they battled their hearts out, and all the best to them in the playoffs. But this is a moment we're all going to savour. I'm delighted for the chairman. The fans have been brilliant. There's a set of boys there that deserve this. We've played well all season, and I think we do deserve this.
I think you do. And when Brentford went a goal up there, did you think it was going to get away?
You had for about 2 minutes, you thought to yourself, oh no, it's not going to be our day. But then you've got to get your thoughts back together, and you've got to start believing again. I think this is a game where you've got to dare to dream, and if you don't dream, they're not going to come true. And today, a dream's come true for John Solaka, and I'm delighted.
Jamie Curitan's 16th goal of the season had clinched the point Reading needed. For some supporters, the prospect of the playoffs were looming while Brentford led 1-0. But this is how Curitan's strike was received at Griffin Park and by thousands watching on a big screen at the Medeski Stadium.
Absolutely fantastic for Reading Football Club, playing proper games here next season, big clubs, fantastic, well done.
And this is how they finished. Brighton the champions, but Reading were promoted, finishing as runners-up with 84 points. The Royals drew 9 of their last 10 matches. The Bees headed for the playoffs with Cardiff, Stoke and Huddersfield. The celebrations rolled into Sunday as the Royals toured Reading.
What an atmosphere, I mean, it's tremendous. Thank God the sun's come out today, and everybody's got the blue and white shirt on, and it means a hell of a lot to the lads.
At first we didn't think there were going to be many here, but then they've all come out and it's been brilliant.
Fantastic, it's a brilliant day for the lads. Yesterday was a fantastic occasion. It's one of those days you always enjoy, always remember. Fantastic.
Thousands more greeted the squad at the Medeski Stadium.
I honestly believe that we'll fill this stadium next year, and I think the year after the chairman will have to take that roof off and add some seats on.
players had to produce a hell of a display at Brentford yesterday because they're a top team. So I'm so proud of them, and they should be proud of themselves because they've done this club justice, and the fans can enjoy their celebration all summer.
One final memorable occasion provided a fitting finale to the promotion season. Alan Pardew's team and some former Elm Park favourites met an England team in front of more than 19,000 spectators. International stars such as Stuart Pearce, Paul Gascoigne and Dennis Wise turned out in a testimonial match for Royal skipper Phil Parkinson. After a decade with the club, it was a special night for Parky, his teammates and the supporters. Alan Pardew presented Reading's Player of the Season award to Graham Murty. In the match, Parky scored the opening goal, but for once it was the atmosphere and not the result which mattered.
Fantastic loyal servant to the club, and I'm also twofold because Reading got promoted, so it's a good night not only for Phil but also for Reading.
He's done fantastic, you know, and you can see by the amount of people that's turned up what a great player he's been here and how well he's done, really.
Phil signed for Reading the same time I did, pre-season, 92 it was. In many respects he was a big brother to me when I was here, you know. I of course moved on. I remained in touch, remained very close friends. He's been a loyal servant to the Royals, and he fully deserves today.
Mascot Ryan Wheeler scored the final goal on a night of celebration.
We've got 19,000 here tonight, you know, and you've got no away supporters. That's unbelievable. And the Reading public have been magnificent to us over the years, and you know, I fully appreciate it.
The Reading squad then received their promotion medals and a trophy for finishing as runners-up in the nationwide second division.
Reading have a free kick that Vivash is going to take. Delivers it up towards Parkinson, who got the flick on. Kiriton! Yes! Majestic finish! A laid-back celebration! Does he know the importance of that goal? Jamie Kiriton, wonderful first touch, and the finish, given the circumstances, extraordinary. Promoted this time. It's Pardew who wins. He's done it. He can hardly match the dancing celebrations of the supporters.